There are some concepts related to brass playing which didn't always make sense to me, mainly because the common descriptions are kind of backwards. I'd like to flip a few things around to see if it helps you as it did me. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Brian from Airflow Music. Alongside publishing our books for brass players, we're producing a bunch of videos with tips to make brass playing easier for you. So if you're new here, please subscribe to the Airflow Music channel so you're notified of all of our videos. This video is part of the Trumpet A-Z series. There are a number of components of playing the trumpet, or indeed any brass instrument, which we tend to make harder than necessary by overdoing them. I think that's partly down to the way that they're described or notated in method books. I'd like to highlight a couple of them and see if coming at them from a different angle makes life easier. R is for release. The most common use of the word release, at least related to playing the trumpet, is probably the way we use it to describe musical phrasing and the way we finish notes. Tongue stops, air stops and things like that. That's certainly where I've heard it most, in the commercial music field that I frequent. Actually, that usage is a pretty good example of how these descriptions can be backwards. I would argue that playing the note is a release rather than stopping it. Let me explain. One of the common problems that many players have, as I've discussed in other videos, is overblowing. If you haven't seen my video O for overblowing, I recommend you go back and watch it. It's linked on screen or in the description below this video as usual. In terms of how it feels to play when everything's working easily and efficiently, I would say that it doesn't really feel like I'm blowing at all. There's really not that much effort to it. Let's flip that around. If I feel like I'm blowing, I would say that's a sure sign that I'm overblowing. This is backed up by many of the things I've discussed in these videos, going all the way back to A for air at the beginning of this series. If we blow through the mouthpiece to find out how little air can actually fit through the throat, like this, then we come to a place where we're really not blowing hard at all. I've previously described it as needing to blow more gently, but more than anything, we're actually releasing the air from our lungs. I should put this argument in some further context, particularly with regards to breathing. As I discussed in B for breathing, when we're playing, we really only need to take a natural breath as we do when we perform any physical activity. When we do, we engage our core, and our chest rises up as our lungs inflate. If we then hold our chest up as we play, we're correctly applying breath support. Even though we may now feel that we have a stronger air supply, the trick to playing efficiently is to still not force the air out. It only needs to be released, and in actual fact the breathing and breath support just means that we've activated the muscles we can use to better regulate that release of air. Included in that regulation is any compression we may apply to the air to control the speed with which it's released. I'm abundantly aware that I still need to go into detail about the 3 compressions, and I promise that that video is coming soon. This concept of releasing air can also inform how we articulate. For many years my tonguing was not as good as I wanted it to be, simply because there were too many moving parts in the motions involved. Again, I've realised that this is partly due to the language we use to describe tonguing and the way it's notated in some books. We tend to think of it in terms of words like attack, and notate it with syllables like to. It's entirely possible that I was behind the curve on this, but I started out with the impression that I needed to move my tongue into the airstream to make the articulation. Subsequently, I've realised that it's easier if you flip that concept around. If your tongue is in the way of the airstream and then you move it out, you release the air to form the note. The ta or da or whatever syllable it is you're leaning on for tonguing is a movement away from the airstream, not towards. Once I figured that out, my articulations improved quickly. Previously, I was also needing to stop the airstream with my lips or by stopping blowing, as well as the articulation itself. Once I simplified the movements, then everything became easier and sounded clearer. This also takes me back to my point from the start of this video about the end of notes. You may stop the note with your tongue by actively closing the lips or by stopping the air itself, but that's the very opposite of a release. I hope this video makes some sense and it may help you think differently about some of the concepts we apply to learning our instruments. If it doesn't and you'd like to discuss it further, then please comment below and let's have a conversation. One of the coolest things about presenting these videos has been the contact with those of you who watch. Your questions and comments help me learn, not only about different approaches and concepts, but also how to explain things in different ways that may make them clearer. I'd like to thank you all for that. It's only been about 4 months since we started this channel and began making these videos, and in that time we've already amassed 1,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. I'm grateful to all of you who watch, comment on and subscribe to these videos. It really blows my mind that so many of you are interested in what I have to say. Thank you again. So please hit that like button, subscribe to the Airflow Music channel if you haven't already, and share this video with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. I'll be back again on Monday with another exercise of the week, and again next Friday with more Trumpet A-Z. In the meantime, please visit airflowmusic.com and check out the various books, exercises and other merchandise we have on offer, including the brand new Finger Flexes book. All sales directly support making these videos. I'll see you next time. Now, go practice.